No, I saw it, but I didn't get to that figure. How much did he go for?
He goes for about 70 quid now.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wouldn't keep him. I would. He will be on eBay later on. Hello and welcome back to the Geek Week in Review with me, Jacob's Toys, and of course, the wonderful one and only SuperSorrell. As always, if you're enjoying the channel, please do like, share, subscribe, and all of those things. And check out the description for obviously Sorrell's details as well. Make sure you give him a follow if you don't already. So quiet week this week, Sorrell.
Very quiet week, unless you've been to the cinema to see Shang-Chi. That's pretty much all there is to do this week.
Yeah, and I didn't. I haven't been. I've not been yet. I am going to go. I'm going to go. Quiet week, but I think there's still quite a bit to talk about. We've got a few things to kind of discuss. So I'm going to bring a guest in. I'm going to introduce this one because he's a friend of mine I've known for quite some time. Started off his own YouTube channel recently, so would like to introduce you to Ryan Speaks Geek.
Dramatic reveal. Lost the button.
Can't find the light.
Oh,
Fantastic. That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
That's a sneak preview of the quality you can expect from this channel. It is the
Ryan.
best. It is the best channel available at its price range, which is Poundland. So
Ryan, I love it. I love it. But Ryan, thank you very much for joining us. Obviously, in the description below, you've got Ryan, link to Ryan's channel as well. Do make sure you go and give him some support. Very much appreciated. Gents, let's kick it off with What If. So we had Marvel What If. We're on episode 4. And I believe there's 9. I think there's 9 pen for the thing.
9, yeah.
So yeah, so
you can
this
either
one
go
was...
by the Wikipedia page, or you can look at the Lego minifigure series that was revealed and work out which ones you haven't seen yet. That's sort of a good way to indicate it. So.
That is true. That is true. Awesome Lego minifigure set as well. I'm just going to say I've got the full set and they are really cool.
Shock you.
Okay, so what was it? It was titled What If Doctor Strange lost his heart instead of his hands? Just quite anonymous.
How bleak was that episode?
Oh, I know.
The funny thing is, I mean, I've got to chuck in that I haven't seen it yet, but I've already said to the guys before, I'm happy for spoilers, but that's the first time I've seen the title, and already it sounds like a Disney movie. This sounds like, what if Bambi's dad got shot first instead of his mum? That's basically what this title says to me. So it
really was. I must admit, I looked at the synopsis and I was like, oh, okay, this has got potential. And I think it's the first one that really kind of went out there. Do you know what I mean? Like the others were kind of playful. Oh yeah, what if this person ended up here, or what if this happened to it? But this one really went there, didn't it? It was.
It did.
And
this
was
one,
dark.
What I liked about this one, though, did you not get some of the ominous backstory part where this could have effect on what Doctor Strange does going forward in the MCU? If that, because we saw that he has the power, the spell, that basically he could go back in time without the Eye of Agamotto. He can do it just.
Yeah,
it was a spell to change time, and if he can do that without the Agamotto thing, then he can do that in Spider-Man. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm thinking. Was this like a prelude of what could, like, the reason you don't mess with time?
Yeah, that
was very much the reason, wasn't it? He showed you by the end of that episode why you don't mess with things.
So we saw 2 versions of Doctor Strange, obviously. The episode kind of split, didn't it, into the, what if he what actress's name? Rachel Adams? Rachel
McAdams.
Rachel McAdams, that's it.
yeah.
So we had her return as the voice of so I've lost it now, what her name is. But the love interest in Doctor Strange.
Dr. Palmer.
There we go. Thank you, Ryan. See, I knew there's a reason we invited him.
Literally, I'm basically, hi, I'm Ryan Pedia. I just come in and just chuck some stuff in every now and again.
But she returned as that character, and which I thought was nice. It was good to see them. And essentially, we had the crossroads of, does he, which way does he go? And she dies in the car accident instead of him mangling his hands. And so what happens is he kind of goes over and over and over again about trying to save her and going back, and you see a whole montage of different versions. So they don't get in the car, or they go a different way, or she drives, he drives, they listen to the radio, they don't listen to the radio, all those kind of things. And essentially, it always ended up in the same place. And the only way that he could get past that was by really going dark and becoming the Sorcerer Supreme, and the dark kind of version, and basically just change time itself. And we had the Ancient One as well. She made an appearance, came back and done her role as well, and obviously came back as a kind of a ghost, very reminiscent of Star Wars there, the kind of Force ghost, wasn't it? Like she's kind of appeared and gave him the direction.
I wonder if that's anything to do with the whole Disney ownership thing. Like now they're like, well, we can share ideas.
Yeah, it's just we'll just throw Yoda can just float in at some point.
The next Star Wars film, Yoda becomes giant Yoda by Tim particles and just becomes like dominant. Yeah, it's perfect.
Don't give them ideas.
I know. I'm sorry.
Don't give them. Don't. But one thing I did pick up on that I thought was really interesting is that creature that we saw in episode 1 with Captain Carter, the big tentacly. We saw that again. So we did see that again. And the one thing that I do know is in Shang-Chi, the kind of there is a creature like that as well that they're fighting. I can't remember what they're called in the comic books, but they're like an ongoing. There's this kind of interdimensional creature, and we've seen them now twice in What If and once in Shang-Chi. If my sources are correct. but so that's interesting. So that does make me wonder whether they're leading in more towards a kind of Galactus cosmic, that kind of direction with
some kind of
Marvel cinematic
based villain that can go through all universes, all time, all space.
Yeah, exactly. But I just thought it was a really dark episode. I don't know whether I felt for him or didn't. I'm not sure.
Did you do what I did? Because I was sort of half working, watching at the time, and when the episode just randomly ended, I was like, "What is that? It?" I shocked. I was like, "Is that actually the ending?"
Closed in, didn't it?
Just the world just closed up on him.
Just basically, spoilers, but because you haven't seen it, Ryan. But basically, what they said is that if you do save her, the world basically just implodes. Like this universe just implodes because she has to die in order for things to happen. And he eventually does save her, and then everything just disappears.
It was very reminiscent to me of like the whole, Doctor Who thing, where they were saying like there are fixed points in time that you just cannot change. There are fixed moments that are meant to happen, and they cannot be changed. I like that. Yeah. So that it makes things like maybe with the Black Widow death and things like that, it could make that a permanent thing. And if you mess with that, then Thanos wins.
That she,
sort of thing.
That she has to.
It would be a good way of stopping the writers from just making a cheap comeback for somebody. Well, things have to happen in that way.
Well, it continues to add genuine peril because I think when you watch these films, a lot of the time you watch a lot of Marvel stuff going, okay, the side characters might die, but I know he's going to be okay. She's going to be okay. He's going to be okay. But you're right. If there's actually fixed points in time, like Black Widow, you actually get confirmation that she's not coming back, or there's genuine peril again in that universe. So just because it's a character you love, it doesn't mean they're going to come back in a future film for a cameo. Once they're gone, they can actually be gone. And I think that's something that you do lose sometimes in superhero films when they're in peril, because you sort of subconsciously know that in the middle of the film, Captain America is not going to blow up in that building. Captain America and the absent performance. But it's so I think you're right. A fixed point in time, like Doctor Who style, will add a real sort of sense of peril to it, because you can go, actually, once this character dies, they're not coming back because it is a fixed point in the multiverse.
Yeah.
Well, it's something that comic books as well have kind of taught us, that no one really stays dead. There's always a reason why they can bring someone back. So to kind of introduce this kind of fixed point in time idea is a really good one. I'm behind it. I'm definitely behind it. One other thing I thought was interesting is the Watcher became involved in this one as well. Actually interacted, whereas in the last 3 he's literally just watched.
To be fair, even in the comic books he always says, I'm the Watcher, I just watch, but then he involves himself and does things. So I think that's pretty standard, isn't it? I think the idea is the one to set it up that he is the Watcher, and then they might use him in the MCU to do other things later on.
Well, that I can never pronounce his name because it's spelt differently than it sounds. Watu, isn't it? But it's spelt bizarrely. Some kind of dyslexia, I'm sure. But Watu. But he's famously in the comic books, he is the one that gets involved. That he is the one that kind of steps outside of his box, and the other Watchers get kind of pissed off with him.
I think because we've started seeing his silhouette on the back of like the Funko boxes, the Lego sets. I've got a feeling we're going to see that silhouette more often, going not from What If, but other things. I think the Watcher will become a big part of the next chapter, especially if they go cosmic. I think he'll be the thing that maybe they'll save him right up until the fight someone like Galactus or Kang himself, and then the Watcher will get involved to do something similar to the Snap or something like that, to give us that moment again where they need somebody to do something to bring people back to do something. So you know what I mean? Like give us that kind of
somebody to do something.
No, I'm trying to explain it. I can't explain
that
it.
Was actually that was the pitch meeting for Marvel Studios, wasn't it? Someone needs to do something where everyone else has to come back and do something else.
It's like last time we had the Snap and then they brought people back and they all killed the big bad guy together. Whereas this time it could be like the Watcher does something to like set things in motion again, sort of thing.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. The other thing as well that I picked up on, so while we're talking about toys and stuff, obviously we saw a Doctor Strange figure in Marvel Legends, and we've had him in the Lego minifigures as well. I'm a little bit disappointed now in the Marvel Legends version, because when I saw it revealed, I was like, oh, that's cool. Like it looks a little bit more sinister, a bit more animated. But then when I watched the episode, I was like, man, they could have really made it darker. Like he doesn't look evil enough. So that, that's where I'm at with it. The other
is it actually meant to represent that one from the episode?
Yeah. Obviously, they do it based on concept art and stuff as well. Yeah. So maybe they didn't know how fully dark it goes.
Give them a chance. They may call this one the beginning, like the start of the episode. They might give us one from the end. You never know.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. And like that.
The other thing as well is that it's supposedly characters like Captain Carter and stuff that we've seen in the What If have now been rumored to appear in Doctor Strange 2 as well, based on the success of the What If series, which would be easy to do. You know what I mean? They could literally do them as like a mini cameo or something. But then the other thing that got me thinking is Spider-Man trailer, right? Spider-Man trailer, we spoke about that last week. It's huge. It was amazing. There's one part in that trailer that kind of throws me, and even though I've gone back and looked at it again, and it's the bit where Doctor Strange is on the trains and he's fighting Spider-Man, or it looks to be fighting Spider-Man. If you actually look at his costume, it's totally different. Yeah, it is. He's in a black costume. He's not got the cape, and he's obviously attacking Spider-Man. Now, everyone's made the assumption of, he's trying to rectify a mistake that Peter's made, or he's chasing him. But if you actually think of this alternate Doctor Strange that's kind of gone down this dark path, you think about the kind of things that we've seen teased in the trailer, and then you see this black suit.
And we saw that big box on Spider-Man's hand, whatever that is. At the end of that episode of Doctor Strange with the What If, he turned into a crystal, didn't he? It basically showed him as like a diamond or a crystal.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, could that be something going forward? Is that a new soul stone or something stupid?
Yeah,
if I've learned anything from watching Marvel films, I just went, he's in a black suit. Stealth Doctor Strange. Doctor Stealth. It's always stealth. If there's a stealth version of anything, apparently putting it in a black version of the costume is stealth. Yeah. So like Iron Man, black costumes. Dr. Irons Man spells stealth ninja warrior. Like it's just stealth.
Dr. Monkey, call him, like in
Dr. Night Monkey.
Actually, speaking of which, right, there was one suit that was released. I think it was released as Hot Toys and concept art, which was the Captain America. Did you ever see that one? The black Captain America suit? And it was a really cool looking suit, and it never made it to the films. And it was only in Hot Toys that it came out. And everyone's kind of going, we want that suit. Like it was kind of like the Stealth Shield Captain America or something like that. But
I got this. Captain Stealth America. There we go.
There you go. There you go. But yeah, so my head was just going off on one, and I was thinking, I wonder whether we are going to see this kind of variation of Doctor Strange, because okay, let's get the Mephisto stuff out of the way, because everything leads back to Mephisto at the moment when it comes to Marvel. But there were a lot of Easter eggy kind of hints towards that side of it with Doctor Strange. We saw him as like a beast, didn't we? And we saw him as like a devil, and he was obviously absorbing powers for all these outworldly kind of characters. Nicks a cape off of one, which I thought was great. I loved that bit. That was my favorite. Oh, nice cape. And just took it. But I wonder whether we are going to see this kind of alternate version of Doctor Strange, because if it opens up these, multiverse, and we get these other villains from the Spider-Verse in the Spider-Man film, then surely there's other versions of people coming through from other films and stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's not just because it's a Spider-Man film, that concept can't just be for the Sam Raimi films. Do you know what I mean?
I would hope not, but I would say at the moment there's still the whole Sony versus Marvel thing. Like, obviously, I know Marvel are rumored to be trying to buy out Spider-Man. I know that's like going around all the different websites and stuff, but I do think that potentially limits how much cross multiverse stuff we'll see at the moment. I think in the future, I agree. I think they won't limit it to just Spider-Man, but at the moment they can obviously use the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, which as much as I love all the villains in Tobey Maguire Spider-Man, Tobey Maguire, he's too much of a drip for me. The name's Spider-Man. I've never gone with it. Loved the films as a kid, but as I got older, I just it's a bit like watching Home Alone as an adult. I actually start rooting for the burglars because Kevin's just really annoying. But I do think at the moment with the whole Sony Marvel thing, I think we'll be limited to start with what we'll see multiverse wise based on what they can do, because obviously they're lending Doctor Strange, but I feel like you won't get that full Marvel range to start with. But I think the What If series, allowing Spider-Man to be in that, I reckon be in that story, and then obviously now we've got this multiverse, and I think it will probably progress in time. I think it'll be like an easing into the multiverse. I think this Doctor Strange thing will be like, oh look, we can actually go into past films from the past version of cinematic universes, like with the other Spider-Mans. And I think in future we'll maybe see some sort of interesting kind of almost Flashpoint style kind of I don't know, mentioning DC on a Marvel chat. But I think that's something that will happen in the future. And I reckon Marvel will buy out Sony for Spider-Man. I think they'll get full ownership on it.
You reckon?
Yeah.
They will at some point.
They've got enough money.
Some point.
Yeah,
of course.
And as well, I was thinking like they could, because they now own Fox. Disney owns Fox. With this whole, if this was popular enough with the whole, if it ends up being Tobey Maguire or whatever, just these villains alone appearing in the trailer has been enough to make the internet go mental. Imagine if they just made a scene where Doctor Strange went into a different universe, went into a bar, and Logan sat there. Hugh Jackman. You know what I mean? The internet would lose its mind.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Deadpool shows up in like the Fantastic Four original, like next to Reed
even
Richards.
If he just walks across the screen, looks at the camera, goes, "Oh, wrong movie," and just walks off. That would be enough to make the internet just go perfect.
Please,
a fourth wall break or something would be.
No, what we need Chris Evans, Captain America, to walk into the Fantastic Four and talk to the Human Torch. That's what.
Oh my god, that'd be amazing.
That's what you need. Like that would be pretty funny. Do you remember in the original Fox X-Men films? Did you ever watch the deleted scenes on the Blu-ray and the DVD?
You're going to say Spider-Man, aren't you?
Yeah. Did you ever see the Spider-Man shot, Sorrell?
No.
Oh, it's brilliant. It's on YouTube. It's on YouTube. But it was one of them ones that it was kind of a hidden deleted scene. So remember back in the day when you get your DVD and you could push your arrow to a certain place and then something else would light up. Yeah. So it was like a little X, or I can't remember exactly. Yeah. So you'd push your arrow like 4 times to the left, and then like an X symbol came up, and it was a deleted scene. And basically, it was like Cyclops, Jean, and Storm, I think, like in a hallway, and they go like kind of like right action, and they all kind of run along, and then somebody in the background has got a Spider-Man costume on and kind of runs around the corner as well, and then goes, sorry, wrong universe, and then runs off, and they all kind of clap and laugh, and that's it. But everyone went mental for it, because it was like X-Men and Spider-Man together in a film. And here we are, like 20 odd years later, or 22 years later, it's still not happened.
As much as we all joke about it, I really hope they do the X-Men properly with MCU. But did you ever watch the Gifted TV series?
I really liked that.
They were onto something with some of those characters. Those like the casting for Blink especially, and the casting for Warpath, and if they brought those into the MCU, they're young enough to carry it. I'd be well happy with that. They were a good cast, and they ended
if they brought them into the movies now, because I mean they ended the way they ended the series, which I think was way too early. But if they brought that into the films now, I actually, as the sort of more adult version, so like what's happened in the last couple of years, we don't know, but then they bring it into the films. I would be so happy with that. I can actually live without having Cyclops in that lot if I got those characters.
What's so good about the Gifted show is obviously they drop hints towards Magneto, because obviously daddy issues and whatnot. They talk. Warpath obviously talks about the X-Men and carrying on the mission and that. So they're there. We just never saw them. So they could easily.
Yeah, I liked about it, but it was very similar to when Marvel did Guardians. A lot of people didn't know what who those characters were, so they could build upon them and make them look like make you like them. As a Marvel fan, I already knew who these people were in that program, but not enough to the fact that I was enjoying the TV series, learning more about those characters and what that universe had in store for them. And I think that could be good because the characters that not a lot of people would be overly familiar with, like Blink and stuff, is like one of the. I think she's only in the Exiles comic these days. So I mean, her character would be perfect to bring in, especially during the multi-dimensional stuff, because she moves through
some portals and stuff like that. That'd be awesome.
We had her, didn't we? Was it Last Stand or which one is it?
It was the X-Men Last Stand. She appeared in that, and so did Wong. He was played by that guy who's now in Descendants. That weird, I forgot his name, Boo Boo Stewart.
Yeah, but God can sing and dance. So this is like. Sorrell, you forget.
You went from X-Men to Disney's Descendants. Come on, downgrade.
But you've got to remember, like I got young kids, man. Descendants are they are wicked. I'll sit down and watch Descendants with my kids. And I was straight away. I was like, that's Warpath. It's like waiting for him to like pull out some knives or something. But no, we joke. But no, I think that it's a good one. Did any of you see the New Mutants film? Because obviously that was put off and put off, and I still haven't seen it. Hands up.
It's on the thing now, but I still haven't seen it. I've heard good things because they did do this is where the whole thing about the whole reshoots thing comes in, where people go like reshoots and everyone starts talking negatively about it, but forget that reshoots have been in essence original New Hope. They've been around in the cinema industry for years. Just because of social media, we now talk about reshoots more. But New Mutants is one of those classic things, I think, where it's been so long. I think I haven't seen it yet. I'm really looking forward to seeing it still because I think it had such a build up. Then because of the reshoots thing, it had a negative build up because everyone going, oh, reshoots, blah, blah, blah. But from what I've heard, actually the reshoots were done to make it that little bit more horror aspect. I mean, you've seen it, Sorrell.
Yeah, Anna Taylor-Joy is the perfect cast for Magic. She plays it so well, even with the little dragon and everything that she has. It's perfect casted. She's brilliant at it. And if they brought her through to the MCU, just her alone, just bring her through, that'd be perfect.
Well, she's the main reason why I haven't seen it yet. I love Magic in the comic books, and
she's the perfect casting. She's brilliant at it. She can do she's got the accent down, and she plays it really well. It's not Lockheed. Lockheed's cat.
That's I can't
remember the name of her little dragon that she's got.
Shadow Cat and Kitty Pryde.
Yeah, Anna Taylor-Joy in the film, Magic's got like a little dragon thing that speaks to her, and he's like a little dimensional dragony thing. And all that was brilliantly done. And the fact that she's got the sword and everything just makes it appear and things, brilliant.
I'm going to have to watch it. I will watch it now.
Brilliant film.
But I just thought I put off watching it just because I thought that's another option that they've got to bring X-Men mutants into the MCU because they've got these characters and they've got these actors and actresses and stuff like ready and primed. So
some of the other casting, as an X-Men fan, I was a bit meh, especially them. I think they just used Maisie Williams just because it was Maisie Williams. Her casting as that character was a bit nuts, but
was it?
Not my favorite. But
again, how long ago was that though? Because I mean, they filmed it like
ages
so many years ago.
Yeah, it was hot off Game of Thrones ending, wasn't it? It was pretty
Game
much
of Thrones. Stranger Things is the other casting choice in there, I think. With who plays Jonathan Byers.
Things.
And then obviously, what's the other girl from Game of Thrones who played Jean Grey in? I'm bad with my actors' names. But you know who I'm talking about. Yeah. You know who I'm talking about. But it was just interesting to see them as different. Yeah, as different. I'll say the name as the sound cuts off, and then I can't get it done for it. No, but it was just interesting to see all these kind of young, upcoming, popular actors and actresses kind of being cast in these roles, and then that it just kind of all died a death. So it'll be interesting to see what they bring in. It'll be interesting to see how they bring it in. But yeah, so I mean, that was our what if chat, if you like, but it just transpired into X-Men. But yeah, I in conclusion, I'm really excited to see where it goes. I'm really excited to see where this show goes, and the more kind of clips that are coming out on the internet as well, like trailers and stuff. It's obvious that these characters are going to come together. There's a very distinctive clip where you see that Doctor Strange that we saw in this last episode talking to Captain Carter. They're in the same shot together. And there's the one where you see Captain Carter and Star-Lord together as well, like the defenders of the multiverse or whatever it is they're calling themselves. So I'm really excited to see where this goes. I feel that these first few episodes. Yeah, I think that these first few episodes are kind of setting up who these characters are. so that we're invested in them, and then there's going to be something that it concludes with. But that says to me that if there is like a conclusion, it needs to lead into something. I don't think it's just going to kind of set up.
Marvel doesn't do anything half-assed. They wouldn't make this if they didn't have serious investment in those characters for something in the future. Even if it's just a spin-off comic book or a further cartoons, they're doing something with those characters down the line.
Yeah. No, definitely. All right, so let's talk about the Haslab as well. I want to talk about Haslab. We need to talk about Haslab projects. I don't know how up you are with your Haslab projects, Ryan. I know you're a Hasbro fan.
I'm pretty up there. I have mixed feelings about Haslab as a concept, but I won't lie. What they have produced has so far been really, really good. I just think some of the things they produced, I don't think needed to be crowdfunded.
No, it's very true. But the Sentinel is obviously the big one on everyone's lips at the moment because it started shipping. So this was one that was funded last year, so this time last year, and it smashed all of the targets, smashed all of the goals. I think it ended on something like 26,000, and it needed a minimum of 16. I think it was. I don't know. Sorrell looks like he's looking up numbers at the moment.
No, I'm laughing because I think I know what's coming if I know where you're going with this.
Probably. But yes, it smashed all of the goals, all of the tiers. We get extra heads, we get extra figures and the rest of it. And it's already started landing in the US. So there was actually pictures shared today on like Marvel's News and stuff where people actually have them in hand. And it looks incredible. It looks absolutely
Have you guys
epic.
got one or?
No.
Coming? Or?
I don't believe in Haslab. I hate Haslab.
I've got one. Of course, I've got one coming. I've got one coming.
Yeah, that makes sense.
The problem is we get told by Xavi today or this week that ours isn't going to come until December. That they're starting to ship it. They're starting to ship it in December. This thing
it's going to be really
penned.
good for YouTube because no one's going to have done a video by December, so you'll be fine. Don't worry about it.
No, do you know what I mean? There are very like for anyone. So, for example, I mean, I didn't buy it to do a review, to do an online review. Like it's like I would want one because obviously I'd want one, but if you were buying it because you were hoping to do a review on it or you were kind of counting on, to get it that many months after the US market is unheard of in this day and age. Like it's like even figures, even like store exclusive figures like Walgreens or Walmart exclusive figures we get at the same time, if not sometimes a little bit before they land on the shelves in the US. So to get it like a good 4 months after the guys in the US have got it, that's really poor.
I mean, you could jump in and be like Brexit, but let's not turn it into that. But joking aside, though, like I do find the last sort of 4 or 6 months, like a lot of exclusive stuff, even some of the stuff we normally get sooner, I feel like we're getting later. Like there's the vintage collection Bad Batch multi-pack that you could actually get on Amazon, which I managed to pre-order. But even that looks like we're going to get that much later than the States. But that again wasn't probably the case like last year, especially weirdly during lockdown. I felt like a lot of the stuff was weirdly more available. But I do think that some of the I've seen it. Xavi seems to be particularly awful because I'm still waiting for my White Ranger helmet. But they keep saying it's in special order from Hasbro, blah blah blah. But they're taking money for it, so you would think that it was on its way. But again, they're having problems getting it from Hasbro. If you're watching this, Hasbro, where's my helmet?
But the thing is
distribution has gone. I love Hasbro, but their distribution has gone mental in the last year.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm a big fan of Hasbro, and I'm also a big fan of Xavi. Like they sort me out. I can't complain. And a lot of the negativity I see online about Xavi, I've not experienced myself. I've actually experienced the opposite.
This is the first time for me, to be fair. Everything else they've been spot on, but
then there was, you're talking about distribution and stuff. There was that like, a couple of weeks ago. There was the Emperor Palpatine lightsaber. Did you see that?
Oh went up on Xavi for cheap, wasn't it?
Went up on Xavi. So this is £170 product, and it went up on Xavi for £30, and people jumped on it. And people got it delivered.
Yeah, it actually turned up, didn't it?
People got it delivered at that price.
Yeah, mate,
there was a lot of people. there was a lot of people that got refunded. Like there were a lot of people that got refunded, but there was a handful of people, enough in the community groups to kind of make a noise about it, that actually got it. So it is swings and roundabouts. But my personal opinion with the Sentinel side of it is that, with something that is crowdfunded, with something that is kind of almost made to order as such, that's how I feel about it. I feel that, you know, you crowdfund something, you're paying for something to be made to order. For there to be that much of a delay, like that is avoidable. That to me is laziness. It is kind of a, you know what, we'll do this team here and then we'll do this. And I don't know, it left a bit of a salty taste in my mouth. That sounds wrong, but you know what I mean? You know, it's just.
Maybe having to find a bigger box.
Maybe they did. Maybe they were like, shit, we've got like, you know, 30,000 of these things and we need a big box. But interestingly enough, one of the people that got it in the US, I only saw a few pictures before coming online now. One of them's got it stood up next to his like guitars and his amps and stuff. And it's literally like 2/3 the height of his guitar, like the box alone, and like swamps the amps. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, this is not something that somebody could purchase and hide from the other half. Like, it's going to need like a tow truck to kind of bring it up to your door. But we'll get it.
Because that's when you've got them. Look, you've answered your own question. What you do is you buy a guitar case, pretending you're learning guitar, and you keep it in the guitar box. Just sits in there like this.
There you go. Ryan helping people out with like underhanded purchases.
Ryan's geek tip of the week. So as a guy who gets the city bots from the Transformers, the city bots, I've got Metroplex, I've got Fort Max, Scorponok, Triptychon, Omega Supreme. They're massive, you know, they're like 2.5 foot tall. Storage is always a problem, but I think you have to sort of work out where you're going to put them before you get them. And I think the Sentinel, I mean, because the problem is I've always loved the Sentinel since the original X-Men cartoon when I was a kid. Watching it, that was always like the terrifying thing in the cartoon. You know, and I just sort of, I won't lie, that was one of the ones I was semi-tempted. I don't like the Haslab model, but I did really get tempted by that. I mean, because it does look insane, because it weirdly looks like it doesn't cater to just comic fans. It also seemed to cater to the cartoon fans. Like the sort of design they went for, I think it did sort of, it was almost cross-generational, which was actually quite a smart move, I think.
Yeah, and I agree.
I would wait. I would wait till December. I'd be happy to wait. It's crap, but you have to wait that long, but...
Don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm not gonna write an angry letter to anyone. It was just rubbish to hear. Like, there was all this buzz that kind of like, you know, everyone had it penned as August. That was what we were told at the time. You know, August 2021. And then at the beginning of September, everyone's sort of going, here we go, shipping emails.
I think I know why though.
Why is that?
We are in the middle of a shortage. It's an electronic toy that does light up and therefore has conductors, and therefore there is a shortage of conductors right now in the world. That is more than true. Likely. Yeah, there's a shortage of precious conductors, metals, chips, and precious metals. So more than likely, it's because Hasbro can't secure enough of the conductors to make the damn thing work. More than likely.
Now I just feel like a douche. It's just one of them. I want my light up toy. No,
Jake's in there going like, oh, current events. Oh.
Precious metals are short in the world. But God damn it, I ordered this a year ago.
I want my Sentinel.
But yeah. All right. So listen, moving on. Was that where I was going? Did you get it right?
Yeah. I was deep down. I was having a little smile because I'm sorry, but I really don't like Haslab. I've been very honest about it. Yeah. I don't like the concept. I think it could be good, but I don't like the prices right now.
Since Sail Barge, it lost me since Sail Barge basically, which was the beginning.
Yeah. I think that moving on to Galactus then, because that was the other big one. And I think that you hit the nail on the head there with the money and the side of it. You know, that it really felt like a I don't know, it just felt wrong. Nerdzoic did a really good video. I don't know if you caught it, Sorrell, but he did a really good view on, like, you know, how it worked and all that kind of stuff, and it was just an interesting watch. But yeah, I don't know, just something felt really wrong about it. And what I don't understand is that it really struggled. We had like a weekly talk about it, didn't we? You know, about where it was, and it was like 5 days away from closing, and they were still a few thousand away from being backed fully. And then the project closed on like something stupid, like 32,000 backers, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. And 5 days before, we were struggling to get like 13,000. And then all of a sudden, bang, 32,000 people. That is some serious fear of missing out.
When did it?
I genuinely don't think.
When did it end? What date? Someone have a theory here.
Like last. Oh, I don't know. Last Friday, last Saturday, something like that. It was only like a week ago.
Date-wise, that probably would have been, if I'm guessing, past the 28th of the month.
Yeah, so I think so. I think it was.
I'll tell you why. Then payday.
Okay, fair enough.
Most people around the world get paid by the 28th of the month because obviously with the February. So a lot.
We lost him.
Last month was
the, we lost you. You lot were on a cliffhanger there and then you froze. No, but paydays, that doesn't make a lot of sense. But I kind of thought about that, but then I thought, does payday really account for 20,000 odd people? It was just big.
I wonder
that many.
Yeah, I'm wondering whether it was a case of they didn't want to put the numbers from the international markets. Obviously, you got to think back when they did the Sentinel, we wouldn't have been included in the figures for America, would we?
No.
They smashed their goals without the UK market even being added. So I'm wondering whether we're seeing that as this is just Hasbro Pulse orders right now. And then at the end, they went, oh, by the way, these are all the international backers. Bang. They didn't want to introduce that early because they didn't want to influence the people getting it from Hasbro. I think people probably went, it's got all the tiers, I'll wait. I think they didn't want people to wait. They wanted people to order it now, then find out what the tiers were.
And then that last stretch goal was just bizarre. I know we spoke about it briefly last week, but I don't know if you caught it, Ryan. But obviously with the tiers, so the tiers were all heralds. So they gave us 3 pretty cool heralds, they're 6-inch figures that they've said aren't going to be remade for a number of years. And then we've smashed it with 32,000. Here's a Doctor Doom head.
The thing is, I actually misread the announcement, so I thought it was a Legends scale Galactus body with a Doctor Doom head. So I thought it was another figure.
I thought the same thing.
Thank you. And then I was like, when I read it a bit more, I was like, so your option is to have one head on a stick or another head on a stick.
Yeah.
Because you can't have him holding the head of Galactus holding the head of Doctor Doom. What else? If you're not using it, what else can you do with it?
But bear in mind,
it's pretty niche, isn't it?
But bear in mind that the original head as well come with 3 faceplates. So straight away, as soon as it launched, it had technically 3 heads. I don't know.
Maybe it's for helmet collectors. I don't know.
But obviously, 32,000. Actually, the actual number I've got it written here. The actual number that it ended on was 32,343 backers. Now you times that by $400, and you can see that Hasbro have made a hefty few million out of this particular.
Wait, what was that number?
Here we go. 32,343
times $400. Yeah,
$400.
I'm just putting this into the special geek computer. Well, Jake, the figures are in, and that is $937,200.
Wow.
Damn.
Wow.
Just shy of $1 million, really, which is insane when you think it's for a figure.
Yeah, and obviously production costs and design costs and wages and all the rest of it.
I think design costs, I've already designed it.
But yeah.
Things bonus.
Well, yeah, that's it. But what's really interesting though is that the Galactus backers in the UK still haven't been built. We noticed that on the communities that a lot of people are kind of kicking off about it. However, the same thing happened with the Sentinel, so that it was it was the backing finished and then the billing happened. I think it was about 2 weeks later. But Hasbro actually released an email saying via Hasbro Pulse saying, I know you might be getting hesitant because the money's not been taken, but believe me, as a backer, you've secured one, and it will notify you when money's being taken. But damn, if you had put £400 aside for this figure and kind of kept yourself from spending it, thinking, right, wait for this date, and then the date comes around, they've not taken it. Especially with all these
funny
figures
complaint,
coming out.
Though. It is a funny complaint. They go, man, why haven't they taken my money? Why is there not less in my bank account? Oh.
Exactly. And Dan as well, Dan on the Marvel team said that his favorite Legends wave to date is being announced this month, which says to me that there's going to be some other Legends reveals before the Hasbro PulseCon, which is obviously in October. So
yeah, they did say a while back September is a big month. They said that a while back. September's a big month is what they said.
Yeah, because it's for everything, like Transformers, Star Wars. They think it's going to be a big cross reveal.
Who knows? So that's about it on the kind of news side of it. Was there any other figure news that I've missed out on?
Nothing really this month. It was very quiet.
No.
There was a bunch of leaks, weren't there, about Star Wars? There were Star Wars leaks.
Which
but I think
they're always 50% accurate a lot of the time. Like it's like the Transformer leaks as well. Like, you know, normally there's some that are kind of semi-accurate. I mean, there was some leaked figures apparently of a scrapper to go effectively with your thrilling 30 Metroplex, which came out years ago and is impossible to get. And they've decided now, like the 6-gun from the previous line, they're like, right, it's been enough years, it's impossible to get. Now we'll release the companions to go with it. It's like, honestly, it's like releasing accessories for a first generation like Marvel Legends figure where you can't get hold of it or something. It's a bit bizarre, but they have actually, there's prototype pictures have sort of surfaced to that. But again, whether a lot of the stuff that's listed, I mean, especially Star Wars, it's always such a mixed bag. I mean, you normally look at the fundamental characters they're going to re-release for the 50th time. There's been Luke.
I mean, the only thing that really made me smile this week was that Todd McFarlane obviously announced more Batman because he loves Batman, he's obsessed. And he released the Batmo Beast. Oh my God, I'm so glad I don't collect that line anymore. Did you see that bad boy?
No, I don't think I did.
So it's like a monster truck for Batman to sit in. It looks ridiculous.
What's it called? The Batmo Beast?
The Batmo Beast.
Wow.
Yeah. And the only other thing that got announced that kind of came out this week, other than that, was you see the news for Target Geek Fest or something?
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah.
So that's going to be a Target exclusive reveals from the 28th onwards, and every Friday they'll be releasing a new figure or drop. And Star Wars is one of the licenses that they're getting exclusives for.
That'll be interesting. I've just looked at the Batman Beast. What is this?
That's ridiculous, isn't it?
That is the kind of thing that only a child would ask for, but every adult would pretend they didn't buy but did.
But that, you know what, Ryan's pre-ordering now though, because if I know Ryan, he's the kind of guy that would buy that. Like, this looks cool. Interesting though, we're talking about times and what you said there about timescales and stuff. So just to make everyone feel really old. So Marvel Legends, for example, started in 2002. So we know that we discussed that. 2002 Marvel Legends started. So that was 20 years ago this year. Yeah. So Marvel Legends themselves are 20 years old. So that might tie into what this September is going to be a big month or whatever. They might reveal some kind of 20th anniversary, something or like lines of that. However, if you think back to Exactly. If you think back to the first wave of Marvel Legends, those figures are still being traded and bought and sold on the, on the secondhand market, in the community groups and stuff. Toad, for example, is one that comes to mind. Yeah. They've not.
I really thought you were going to say the black market. Then I don't know why.
Black market.
The way you.
Yeah, they're still on the black market. Check out the link. Check the link in the description. No, I'm only joking. But they're still being traded and sold. So if you think about something like the Sentinel coming out now, in 20 years' time, there are going to be people that they're essentially 10-year-olds now that don't know what it is that's going on. That in 20 years' time, providing the brand stays as strong for the next 20 years, that are going to be looking at, how do I get my hands on that 2022 Sentinel? So it's, I don't know. Just as you were talking,
I have the answer for that. The 2032 Haslab exclusive Sentinel anniversary edition. That's how they do it.
Yeah.
I was just looking, by the way, at the first ever wave that Toy Biz did with Marvel Legends, and I do hope it's just not a re-release of that wave. Oh my!
It's an awful wave. Let me see if I can remember. So you got Toad. How many figures were there? Was there 6 or 4?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
5, right. So you had Toad.
Mm-hmm.
You had Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
Captain America.
Yep.
Oh, I can see it now. They've all been redone except for Toad. Is there a Wolverine?
No.
Oh, no, that was wave 2, I think. What ones am I missing? Iron Man, Captain America.
Hulk.
Oh, Hulk, yeah.
And the dodgy gold variant version of Iron Man. They always had a variant, didn't they? They always had a variant back then.
Why is it always gold, though? It's always gold. Transformers, you have the Lagoon version, which is gold. Star Wars used to do this thing with Edward Gold. I've got a gold Captain Jack Sparrow for some reason. I don't know why I own that, but I do.
Yeah.
It's got gold. Just
It is.
Who authorized that Marvel Legends wave? Who sat there and went, oh, so we need Iron Man, Captain America, Hulk, and Toad. Who put Toad in there?
I reckon they had 10 minutes to confirm the wave. And they were like, come on, think of someone singing on. Someone's got the X-Men film on in the background, like, Toad.
Well, they sneezed and they just took it as an answer or something like that.
Toad! Like that, yeah.
Yeah.
I hope it's not that figure line re-release, because people would go mental. Another Iron Man, another Captain America, another Hulk.
Yeah.
No,
Very rare.
20th anniversary live.
Well, it was really interesting because the Toy Biz, like you say about the variants, is that they always did a variant. There was always at least one or two variants. So if you had one character, you had it in another costume, or you had it in another, another style, for example. So
they used to call it was Chase, wasn't it? It was the Chase of the wave, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The Chase one.
It's the Chase one. But obviously, with variant being and having a different meaning now because of the MCU, they could play on that so well with that wave, couldn't they? And give us a
massively.
Variant. It's
Massively.
literally an MCU variant of one of them.
I'm still waiting for the line where it's just a line with every Marvel character as a alligator or crocodile because of Loki. Like Loki, Captain.
That would genuinely sell though.
It would. Captain Alligator,
have you seen...
Captain America, like Iron Alligator.
Sorrell's a Funko guy. Come on, you only got to look at Funko Pops. Like they will throw a character in every, and they sell. That would sell. We're still waiting on an actual alligator Loki figure. Come on, let's not mince our words here. Like we're still waiting on that figure. My money though, if I've got one, I've got a custom one. But if my if my guess is right, so they teased that little kind of figure stand, didn't they, at the last live stream? I think we'll get Toad. I think Toad will be the only part from that first wave. I think that, and that's what will tie it back to the beginning, because he's not been redone. So they'll give us that classic Toad, but obviously a retooled version. And that will tie it back to the beginning, and they'll pick a few other characters out of the earlier Toy Biz waves and then redo them. Maybe that's my thinking. Danny Ketch, maybe Ghost Rider. Just saying.
I said to you, didn't I, last week, that I think it could be cool if they did one, because you get 6 figures in a wave, and there's been 6 variants of the logo. So if they did one from each of the series with the different logos,
that'd be cool.
Each one with a new with a different base plates.
Yeah.
So
there we go. That's pretty much all the toy news and all the TV news and that. So
I've got to say, we've been talking about figures very quickly. I've just thought there's one really gaping hole in Hasbro's market that they've not seemed to have got the hold of. They've released thousands of figures for Star Wars, Marvel, Power Rangers now, just all these licenses. The one thing they keep saying, that we're appealing to collector stuff. Do you know the one thing they haven't done, which everyone probably really wants in their market? Figure stands. Joking aside, but like some kind of, everyone's going on eBay and getting nail varnish stands to put their figures on, or like set off shelves. Like
Hasbro made one. Hasbro made one. They made one that went with, because Ryan Ting's one that he always goes on about flight stands and stuff, and they made one that went with the Black Widow deluxe figure. And you can actually buy it on Hasbro Pulse, I believe, as a standalone stand. And it's really cool. It's articulated and everything. But the thing for me that always put me off about figure stands is how big they look. Like my figure stand of preference is literally the coat hanger method, where you get the coat hanger. You've seen that one before?
I'm talking about plinths. So like in your cabinets, you've got like the plinths. I'm talking about like that kind of figure stand, not individuals. I mean like
tiered stands.
Yeah, that would definitely work.
How have Hasbro not released something like that? All they got to do is chuck a different branding logo on the front, a still Star Wars logo, make it like the colors of the Death, like a Star Destroyer, a Marvel one. They can do it like all temple style. They can do so many different things. It's a really easy money maker. It doesn't require much molding. It could be the same mold for every single franchise. It's a no-brainer, but they've never done it. It's really weird. And they keep saying they appeal to collectors, or like the helmets. They don't do like a helmet stand.
No,
I'd
just
buy
use a
1, 2, 3, 4 of those straight away.
kitchen roll holder, mate.
I thought about it, but they have done it with the Power Ranger ones though, and what a difference that makes.
Yeah, but kitchen roll holder with a bit of foam on the top. That was the best hack I saw for helmets.
Jake Toys.
That's it. So that's all the figure news for the week. But to flesh it out, we thought we'd do a bit of a quick kind of top 5, top 10. So me and Sorrell have got some figures we're going to talk about. Ryan, you can chip in and give us your opinion on those.
Did you not want to discuss the other thing first?
Well, that's what I was thinking. I was leading in, Sorrell. I was giving you a build-up.
I am literally here to be a mediator because I've been privy to what's coming up next, and I feel like I have to be here to be the person that keeps the fans sort of a bit calm, a bit level, because this could be divisive.
I thought you would know me well enough by now, Sorrell, that I was building you up. I was giving you a leader. No, but so we've come up with a 2 top 5s, should we say? We'll call it our 2 top 5 kind of most wanted figures. But Sorrell, I'll hand the reins over to you, and you can explain. You can kind of introduce this next segment, if you like.
Yeah. So basically, maybe if people caught my little breakdown live stream the other day where I kind of had a little mini breakdown on camera, and then I made a video following up later going, by the way, we need to talk, and I'm not trying to kill myself, please calm down, I'm not suicidal. It's crazy how mental you can get about figures, but basically I decided...
That's YouTube.
Insane. YouTube is just nuts. I basically decided to strip back my entire collection and collecting things, and I'm only going to be collecting exclusively going forward Star Wars, which I have lost a few subscribers because of it, but the majority of people have stuck around, which I'm happy about. And I was just so annoyed with myself because I wasn't able to put in the quality that I wanted, because I was constantly chasing the next review because of the amount of stuff I put out and the amount of products I had. And I was accepting brand deals that why? I was looking at some of the things I was getting sent and like, why am I doing this to myself? Like, these are awful. Like Family Guy TV set. What the frig was that? And it's like, no. So I basically decided, no, that's it. I'm done. I stripped it right back and said, Star Wars is where this channel started and is where this channel is going to end and go with. So that's the thing I know the most about. I love Marvel. Marvel's brilliant. I love Hasbro and Marvel Legends. But I needed to do this for me personally. And now, if you've caught my last 2 videos that I've put out there, the quality difference in my videos now is like 100% increase. I'm doing more things that I didn't have time to do before.
Yeah.
So with that in mind,
is it a marvelous weight off your shoulders?
Oh, yeah. Mate, honestly, I have actually slept this week, and yeah, I actually took time to play a video game this week, which I've not done for about a good 6 years. So
what game? That's very big. That's a big deal. What game though?
Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh, yes. Brilliant game.
No.
Brilliant game. Have you completed that though?
Yeah.
Okay, that's right. That's right. That's really cool. And what was really interesting is me and Sorrell were talking like during the week, and you obviously dropped that news to me like in message and stuff. And really interestingly, not as much of a big deal, but I decided at the same time that I was going to clear up my Star Wars and actually just focus on my Marvel Legends. Just because, for the same kind of reason, not for the review side of it, but just for the space and the display. And I just felt like the Star Wars ones for me, they're fantastic figures. They hit me right in the nostalgia. I love the films, I love the TV shows, but I just felt that there was so many. They're pushing out so many. I couldn't get them all, and that kind of OCD element of kind of like I didn't want to just pick and choose. Whereas with the Marvel ones, it's easier for me. It's easier to kind of go, well, I want X-Men and I want Spider-Man, and so I'm going to strip back my Star Wars selection and focus just on my Legends. But it was just a nice poetic moment where I was kind of like, we were chatting and it was like, well, I'm doing this and I'm doing this. It's like, oh my God, did we just become best friends?
It's not like the other.
It is. It was just a nice thing. So, but I think for Geek Week, for the Geek Week in review, I think it actually gives us a really interesting angle, because obviously Star Wars and Marvel are 2 of the huge elements that we've spoken about. We're both passionate about the TVs, the films, and the toys. And I think it's really cool that one of us is more focused on one and the other focused on the other, which is really sweet. I think that's cool. But I
am also here.
Oh, Ryan, you.
The funny thing is, I don't collect 8-inch at all, so I'm this weird outsider that's come in.
Neither do we, Ryan. They're 6-inch. Come on. I'm only joking. Come on, Ryan. A couple of inches is a lot. Let's be honest. Like, it depends who you talk to, but couple of inches.
Ring,
but no, I know you don't. I know you don't collect the 6-inch line.
The thing is, it's interesting. The reason I don't is probably for the same reason you guys are changing your collections, because I started collecting Star Wars when I was 5. My uncle owned a second-hand shop in Swansea, where half my family are, and we went to Planet Hollywood long before going to Swansea to see my family, and there was next to the table was a Han in Solo and Carbonite as like the prop, and my dad, not really remembering the film very well, was like, so I asked him what it was. He's like, oh, it's from Star Wars. It's this creature, Jabba the Hutt, pushes Han Solo into some rock. So in my head, I had this giant monster that literally slammed someone into rock and then left that. So I got really excited. That got my mindset. And then we finally watched them, like the sort of edition trilogy sort of came out not long after they were on the old school like tape from TV ones that we had laying around. And so when I went to Swansea, my uncle gave me a vintage Greedo and a squid head, no accessories, but with also a checklist. There was a big photocopy of the yellow back card with all the figures on it. So when I started in '95, like I started collecting those, and me and my mum went on this big journey throughout my whole life, and we collected a lot of the vintage stuff. And then, so as time's gone on, I've always stuck to that scale. And when they did that, they changed the scale. I had a bit of a dilemma because I really liked the detail that these new Star Wars, like the Black Series figures had. I thought they were amazing details, and obviously articulation and stuff like that. But my dilemma was that I have stuck with one scale for my entire life, and I got one or two, and I was just like, if I start this road, this will just keep expanding. I was right; it has expanded so much, and now there's vehicles for it. There's the Haslab Rancor coming out. It is a line that they are clearly investing a lot in, and I think a lot of that is down to the Marvel Legends line, like scale wise. So it's interesting because I have a bit of a neutral view. I like them. I just won't collect them because I don't have the space.
Yeah, I think for me, when it comes to Marvel Legends, at one point I owned every single legend there was between the years of 2014 and 2020, I think it was. Like literally every single release, and then I was just like, this is stupid. So then I sold a load off, I traded them, etc., etc. So now I'm focusing just on kind of what I want, and that's kind of where my conclusion with getting rid of the Star Wars came from. Not because I don't like the brand, I don't like the franchise. I think it's brilliant, and I think it's for me as a fan, as a follower, as a subscriber of yours, Sorrell, is that it's great that there's that, for me, kind of like, oh, actually, I know exactly where I'm going to go for all my information, because if I'm not collecting them, I know who I'm going to watch. So not that I wasn't watching your stuff already. It makes it sound like I wasn't, but you know what I mean? I think it's really cool.
So glad you said watching your stuff before, not watching you before, because that would sound very stalkerish, right?
I'm just going to watch you.
I did this similar sort of thing when I was like looking around my room, and I was looking at the Marvel Legends shelf, and I was like, I own literally all the characters that I grew up reading as a kid. Like, I don't need other variants of these figures anymore. I own one of every basic Marvel character that there could be that I know of. And when they started doing these more modern waves and they're getting more into the newer comics, I felt isolated because I've not read a Marvel comic properly in years. And when they started doing it, it's like that Captain Britain. Why has he got a beard? I'm like, I have not read a comic where that man has a beard. So I'm starting to see them using like the new X-Men, which I'm not a fan of, the new sort of versions, which is fair enough if people are. I'm not. I'm an old school, golden age of heroes kind of fan. So those, for me, it's all those old school versions that I'm interested in, and they seem to be slowly moving away from that now and more towards the modern. So I've decided to throw it in and just decide that I can't collect everything.
So if I may ask one farewell question for both of you for your appreciated franchises that you're both sort of putting to bed. So one figure from each line from both of you that you might keep, that if you got rid of all the rest of those collections. So Jake, what Star Wars one? So what kind of Marvel Legends? What's one that you definitely won't get rid of, despite the fact you're thinning out this collection? What's one that sings to you that you go, actually, this is one that I think I'm going to keep or potentially keep? Doesn't have to, not committing, but
Toy Biz Warpath.
Oh, look at that! Not even a thought. Not even a thought.
He was my grail.
I heard you saying that before I even thought of my own one. I knew that you were going to say it. I don't know.
I'm asking big questions here. Sorry.
It is hard because I do like Cad Bane, for example, is one of my favorite Star Wars characters. Absolutely love him. But if I kept him on his own,
into live action.
Yeah. Oh, he is. He is. I think it might be a Mandalorian, like the Beskar armored Mandalorian, just because I think the Mandalorian, for me, as a TV show, kind of relit that flame of Star Wars for me.
Potentially just kind of.
There you go.
You could kind of literally just collect Mandalorian rather than all of Black Series. You could stick to you could keep your little Mando collection and then.
Yeah, I think
I
that
have
might
a friend who does that.
Alone.
That might be it.
Who only collects Mando, but then that's evolved into like getting the Gamorrean Guard because he's like, well, that appeared in a Mando episode.
Yeah, I'm looking because mine are here in this case here. Like I've got like four things of them. A couple of them have fallen down here, you can see. But they are really awesome figures, like the Clone Wars figures, like some of the clone commanders and stuff like that are really cool figures. And I don't know, or maybe Anakin, Revenge of the Sith Anakin, maybe, because he's quite a sought after one, with the two heads. I don't know, but no, I think if I had to pick one, I think right now it'd be.
Did you see my video the other day? I know how much he goes for. Is that why you're keeping it?
How much? No, I saw it, but I didn't get to that figure. How much did he go for?
He goes for about 70 quid now.
Okay. Yeah. I wouldn't keep him. I would. He will be on eBay later on. No,
for some reason he kept his value, even though the archive line one came out. Because there's a lot of Star Wars collectors are in-box collectors, and they want, and there's a lot of completionists out there, and they want both versions, archive and original.
The smartest thing they do is put numbers on the side.
Yeah. See, I'm not an in-box collector though, so I know that the value of a lot of my Star Wars figures wouldn't be the same as they would if I kept them in a box, but then I wouldn't have got the pleasure out of them if I had kept them in a box. So, but no, I think if I had to pick one right now, it would be Beskar Mando with the little child figure as well, just because I could put him literally in a diorama on his own, and it just kind of reminds me. And I think the thing for me as well, this is a real sentimental thing as well. But for me, my eldest son is now massively into Star Wars, like massively into Star Wars, to the extent with Disney Plus, he went back and watched all the films in chronological order, like has watched the card. And that all started because of The Mandalorian, the Mandalorian was in Fortnite and he was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be the Mandalorian. I was like, do you know who that is? He's like, no. I was like, right, go and watch this series or you're not playing the PlayStation. And he watched it and he was like, this is amazing. I need to watch all of this. So for me, The Mandalorian.
So weird to think that a generation inspired by Star Wars is their first thing is Mandalorian. That's where we are in history.
Yeah.
Is that's
my daughter is 5 and her introduction to Star Wars was Rey. And the only reason she watched Star Wars is because it was a girl protagonist.
Yeah.
That's the only reason she watched it is because of Rey. She didn't know who Princess Leia was at that point, but Rey was a likable young girl character that she could attach herself to.
She's
got the costume and the staff and everything now.
That's incredible. So have you, Sorrell. Come on, let's be honest. You got it as well. But I think it's interesting you say that because while we're on that conversation, the new trilogy, for a lot of the older fans, they're kind of, oh yeah, it's trash, it's rubbish, and all the rest of it. But for the younger generation, like the Rey kind of story arc and the Rey Skywalker kind of conclusion was phenomenal. Like, and they loved it. Whereas a lot of the older fans are like, oh, that's rubbish, that's trash. You can't do that. But
it's subjective though.
Yeah, it happened back with the prequel trilogy.
With the prequels,
I grew up with the prequels, so for me that was Star Wars to me. Anakin is still my favorite character of all time. But
thank you.
But a lot of people hate on that trilogy and say it's garbage compared to the OG. But I grew up with it, so I love it.
Same, I was 9 when Empire Episode 1 came out, and I wanted to, Anakin was my age, and I wanted to be Anakin. I wanted to. Pod racing is still one of my favorite things in Star Wars.
He's at MCM Comic Con in Birmingham.
Oh, Birmingham.
For sign-ins and stuff. So I'm taking my son to the London one, and then they announced him at the Birmingham one. And my son was like, "Can we go to Birmingham one instead?" I was like, "No, we're going to the London one. We'll have the 9th Doctor or something like that." Let's be honest.
Here's a weird collectible for you. So I have got Empire Strikes Back vinyl record, and it is signed by the guy who played Yak Face, the guy who played Plo Koon, and the guy who voices General Grievous.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty niche, isn't it? That's pretty niche.
That's almost like
You've got
just reminds me of Step Brothers. He's got the sword signed by. Signature that is. It's so and so from America's Got Talent.
If you're rocking around a Star Wars convention and you have a vinyl record, are you not going to get Yakface to sign it? Nope.
Exactly. So, leading.
I was just going to say, I love Star Wars because it doesn't matter who you played in Star Wars, you can get away with signing at a convention, no matter how small your role was. And there's that guy, I don't think he even had a name in the damn film, but on the poster for like the Unleashed Comic Con near me, it said the Scottish guy from Force Awakens. And I was like, Scottish guy? And it took me ages to realize they meant that guy who shouts, Han Solo, you're a dead man.
I can go one better than that. So I went to a Comic-Con in Ipswich Comic-Con. It was delayed for quite some time because of obviously the pandemic and stuff. And it was this big outdoor and indoor thing, and Padawan Outpost were there with their lightsabers and stuff. It was a really good event, I must admit. It was a really good event. And
better than Harlow Comic-Con.
Oh, better than that. That's a whole nother video. But it was a really good Comic-Con, and for what it was. And I was walking around my son, and there was this kind of Star Wars bit that was kind of in like a barn, and there was the lightsabers and whatnot. And then there was the sign-ins, and there was the guy who played Snoke. So the actor who was actually Snoke, which was quite cool. I thought that was quite a good one. But then the bit
he was at Nerd Base the other week.
Was he? Oh, okay, cool. But then me and my son are like kind of looking at the bit, and then there's all these stormtrooper banners and that. And then this old boy comes up, and he kind of comes over to my son, and he goes, "Oh, there, you're right." And he's like, "Oh yeah, how you doing?" And he puts his hand out and shakes my son's hand. He goes, "Do you know who you just shook hands with?" I thought, here we go. And he went, "You just shook hands with the first ever stormtrooper on screen." And he was like, "What?" And he was like, "I played that. The first ever stormtrooper you see on screen was this guy." And I was like, how do you know? Like, they've all been helmets on. Like, but that was his claim to fame. And like, my son thought it was the best thing ever. He was just like, we came out and he said to my wife, he's like, just met the first ever stormtrooper, shook my hand, nice guy. It's like, come on, mate. And I, stupidly me, like, I had no filter, and he's got his pictures to sign and I went, do you know which one you are? And he went, yeah, of course I do. I was like, oh, there's like 12 stormtroopers in a picture, but it is it's true. Anything to do with Star Wars, and you can ride that train for quite a while. So
good documentary on Amazon about watching that. It's called Docking Bay 94, I think it's called, or Pinewood 6. Oh, I can't remember what it's called now for life of me. But look up Star Wars documentary on Amazon, and you'll find it. Sponsored by Amazon Prime.
We will. So let's before we digress too much. What should we do? Should we do one of each?
Yeah.
One of each at a time. Mine aren't in any particular order. Have you got
mine even? No.
No. All right. So I'll start off then. So with the Infinity Saga wave, that's the special Infinity Saga kind of collection of I think it's 12 figures in total. So your Captain America from the Infinity Saga wave. So basically they've gone back and they've kind of reintroduced us to certain characters throughout that Infinity Saga. So because of that, I've focused mainly on MCU characters. So I've not looked at any comic book characters or anything like that. This is just my top 5 kind of MCU Marvel Legends that I'd like to see. And I'm going to start off first of all with Wong. So obviously I want to see a Wong figure, mainly because I was looking at the statistics and he's been in 4 films. So he's been in 4 films.
People saying he's like the new Coulson, isn't it? People are saying.
Pretty much, yeah. So he's been in 4 films already. He's obviously features in the What If series. He's going to be in Spider-Man No Way Home. He's going to be in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. Obviously, the 4th film that he was in is Shang-Chi, that's obviously just come out in cinemas. So he's been in quite a lot of the MCU kind of films.
He's been in 6.
And we haven't. Is it 6?
He's also been in Infinity War and Endgame.
Yeah,
that's both.
True.
Oh, okay.
The beginning of one and the end of the other.
Did I not count those?
No.
Well, 4 to 6. He's been in a number of films. And then there are characters that we've had in literally one film. So Yellow Jacket, for example, that we literally saw in Ant-Man. Now, don't get me wrong, the design, the execution of that figure, it's a really, really cool figure. It's one of my favorite Marvel Legends, to be perfectly fair. But he was only in one film. We've had a figure of him. Whereas you've got a character like Wong that has been kind of a staple throughout the MCU for a while. And we're yet to get a figure of him. So I'm hoping that he's coming, but he's definitely on my list as a figure. I'm hoping maybe in a Doctor Strange wave or something like that coming up.
I want him to come with a CD single of Single Ladies by Beyonce.
That'd be good. That would be quite good. Yeah. or alternate heads, so that you can have the Wong with no hair and the Wong with hair
and headphones.
Yeah. So that's my first one. Sorrell?
My first one is Star Wars Rebels. I want an updated version of Ezra Bridger. I can't believe when they released Ezra that they only gave us the one head sculpt and gave us the long-haired young Ezra.
Yeah.
Yes.
Why didn't they also give us because it was already out at the time, so why didn't they give us the short-haired Ezra to swap out with him, so you could either have him as the season 1 or season 2 version of Ezra?
Yeah.
He's easy packing. The costume changes so little.
Because it didn't really change much. So I mean, it's more or less still an orange suit, wasn't it? They could have just got away with doing a head swap with him.
Rebels was a criminally underused figure potential.
Nah. Yeah, I've actually got him. And I must admit, we've said this before, haven't we, about the animated figures, and I really hate his face.
Yeah.
I really hate his face. That's why I display him with the helmet on.
That's the quote of the video, Jacob's Toys. I really hate his face.
I just really hate his face. I really hate his face. He was one of the first. I totally with you on that. So I think that'd be a brilliant one. And I think he definitely looked better towards the end of the series with that. I think we probably will, because of the rumors of him obviously live action, him and Thrawn. So hopefully we'll get an updated one.
I think he might be part of this exclusive Target thing,
Could be
possibly,
very good.
I've got a feeling, because I've got a feeling they'll do something from each sort of I think they're going to do a mixed wave, and I think it'll be exclusive, but from each sort of really key part. There'll be something Clone Wars, something Rebels, something sequel trilogy, something prequel trilogy, and something main trilogy.
I must admit, I think he was my first animated Star Wars figure that I got in Black Series. And I honestly thought that I'd got sent a knockoff or a reject, because I was kind of like, this doesn't look like Ezra. Do you know what I mean? Like, because I looked at it and I was like, I know it's Ezra, but it doesn't look like Ezra.
Is that because they tried to make real life features on something that's animated?
On a cartoon,
yeah.
So all of the Black Series, the animated characters are all real looking. And it works, but it doesn't work. So cool. But yeah, no, I'm with you on that.
I've actually got, if you want to talk about Rebels niche, so this is a brand new vintage Star Wars figure from Rebels. This is from Stan Solo, who makes sort of vintage either reproductions and also his own original characters. He used the Imperial Gunner mold, and he's made a brand new vintage Star Wars figure that only appears in Rebels as a technician, which Ezra sort of turns off the gravity and they all fall to their death. But so it's a random little niche product for you there.
Wow, nice. Like it. All right, so my second one, MCU characters. Now I got to put a talking point in this one. So Quicksilver is one that everyone was asking for years and years and years. It was one of the only kind of big characters that we didn't have, and obviously they put him in the Infinity Saga line, and he's a really, really nice figure. But on the same basis, I would really like to see a Hawkeye. We've had a few variations of him recently with the Endgame and whatnot. But if you're actually looking at Hawkeye for your collection, the only one that we've got is from right back at the beginning with that first Avengers film. And they've done a couple of variations of him. And he's got the ball joint legs in his hip. And you had the shades on and the shades off version. But I would really like to see kind of a Hawkeye in either a Thor 1 kind of get up. So it's kind of just the black shield, the stealth costume, as you pointed out earlier on, but the kind of black t-shirt kind of look, or Civil War, where it's more the kind of purplies and the pouches and stuff like that. But I'd definitely like to see a Hawkeye. And I'd like to think we're probably going to get one based on the TV show coming out.
100%.
But again, it's going to be a modern one. It's going to be one of him now as opposed to one of him then. And just for my
a middle Hawkeye.
Yeah, just for my own personal collections, like Civil War, for example, you've got pretty much every character that featured in Civil War except for a decent Hawkeye. So that's what I'd like to see. Over to you then.
My next one would be Force Unleashed Starkiller.
You just drop the mic. Drop the mic.
Is it still canon anymore?
No, it's not canon anymore.
Is it Legends
anymore? It's Legends. But it's still a figure that everybody wants either way.
100%.
And if they made it one of these new build-up packs to give us the base figure in a base costume and then give us a light side and a dark side, now have the box split down the middle, red and blue, and you can build him if you want him a Sith or a Jedi.
That's got exclusive written all over it, like an exclusive set. Yeah, you're right. That would be nuts. All the different accessories, like the sand scarf and everything.
Yep.
It's been an age since I played that game, but I absolutely loved him. But didn't he have armor at some point as well? Wasn't there like a
helmet? They gave us a Black Series 3/3/4 inch version of him that came with armor pieces that.
They did.
They gave us different accessories for him in a 3-inch. If they can do it for a 3-inch back then, they can definitely do it now with deluxe.
Definitely one of the best sort of 3-inch accessory wise, figure wise. I'm actually replaying it as we speak. I've just finished KOTOR 1 and 2, and I'm on that.
Nice. Everything that I said about sort of selling up Star Wars, if they released that figure, I would purchase it in a heartbeat. Just because, 100%. Now that's good.
Breaking news: Jake changes his mind.
That's a really good shout. Okay, Heimdall for me, the next one in his golden glory. Again, back in the kind of Thor days. I'm just really surprised we haven't had it, even just as an exclusive. We've obviously got Odin has been put into the Infinity Saga line. We've got various different Thors and whatnot. We haven't had a modern Thor in his kind of original outfit with a helmet and stuff, but we had a Heimdall from Infinity War. But he's obviously just very casual looking with the kind of shawl kind of cape. But the head sculpt's there. And I know we've spoken about this before with obviously Idris Elba going over to DC and the likeness of his face for Suicide Squad and stuff like that. But they've got the mold, so surely they could get away with. He's got such a big helmet, you could really kind of use a little bit of artistic license on that and kind of make it a bit bigger so that you could see less of his features, maybe. But I just think it would be an awesome figure, and you could make it a deluxe one and give him the actual kind of sword with the big kind of, I can't remember what it's called, but for the Rainbow Bridge, you could
do the base. It could be a good little collector piece. It would be, we want to go for one of those like little the vignettes, like the little scenes that they do when they have the, like you said, the base and everything. You have him in the box, open it up, a bit like what you were saying about like the Star Killer one being an exclusive. You could do that as a really good exclusive. You could do that as like, the Bridge Heimdall, and have that whole like him in the box, the pose or the sword. That would look awesome. That would look amazing.
One thing I will say before we move on to your third one, Sorrell, is that with the 10-year anniversary line that we had for Marvel Legends a couple of years back, I think it was 2018, they did that same as what they're doing with the Infinity Saga now. They gave us that kind of collection of 10 or 12 figures, didn't they? The 2-packs and the 3-packs and whatnot. And that was the 10-year kind of anniversary line. And then the following year, after they were announced, there was a handful of others that came out in very similar packaging. There were other figures that weren't included in that 10-year line. And I really hope in a way they're doing that with the Infinity Saga. So they'll go, here's the Infinity Saga, here's your 12 packs, but then announce maybe it has con or whatever that, we're also going to do this character, and this character, but it's not officially part of the.
They did that with the 80th anniversary as well, the 80 years one. They kind of released a load up front, and then they kind of drip fed a few more in later on with the.
I think they're still releasing anything, any Wolverine in a shirt that they can put an 80th anniversary logo on. Go on, then. Number 3 for you, then, Sorrell.
So I'm probably butchering this name, but Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Ki-Adi-Mundi.
Yeah. So
Which one's that?
It was one of the council members, the one that gets when does he die? He dies
it's on Magneto. He falls there with Commander Bakara, who turns on him. He also has 2 hearts.
Is he the one with the long head?
Yes,
he has 2 hearts in his head, and also one of the few Jedi Council members allowed to marry.
Oh, really? So Ryan with his knowledge.
We've slowly been getting like Plo Koon and some of the other sort of random Jedi council members that have been in the films here and there. So it would be nice to have him just to complete that kind of council, or more or less complete it.
Yeah. No, that'd be cool. That would be really cool.
Too much plastic for the head. That's the problem.
Probably.
There's a few really good casts out there, like and head sculpts that you can purchase of those various characters and stuff. And obviously you get a standard Jedi body, and you can
build anyone.
Can do a custom. But so I'm surprised they haven't done that. To be honest, you just cash in on it.
They were going to do a council like sub-series or something, because the thing is they could slightly remold Yoda to Yaddle. You got Yarl Puff. You've got Momo Rancis. Because Yaddle featured heavily in the Lego Star Wars new game trailer.
Scary Yoda.
Scary Yoda. Scary Yoda.
It's like
Yeah,
it's like
really
Child's Play meets Yoda, and then
It's
you've got the
scariest
Yaddle.
thing ever, wasn't
It's
it,
the
like?
only time I've ever been glad that they went back and changed something with CGI. It was the episode 1 Yoda puppet.
Yeah.
I was so glad they changed that. I was so
Yes.
happy.
They got rid of the stone Yoda.
Yeah.
No, I could get behind that. And I must admit, when I first started collecting Black Series, my idea was I was just going to have Jedi. I was just going to get the Jedi, and then I'd essentially have like the Council and the whatnot. And then obviously that expands, doesn't it? But I was really made up when they did like Kit Fisto and they did Plo Koon and stuff. So it'd be good to see some more of those characters. All right, so my number 4, and I don't think we're ever going to see this because of licensing and whatnot, but I'd love a Whiplash, an Iron Man 2 Whiplash, a Mickey Rourke, just in that iconic kind of orange jumpsuit ripped away from his trousers and the, but
Surely Mickey Rourke needs a paycheck. Come on.
Well, that's what I thought. Do you know what I mean? That's what I thought.
No.
It's he publicly said about how kind of crap Marvel films weren't they, didn't he? After, and I think that's probably the reason why we haven't seen it. But I'm surprised they haven't given us the Whiplash kind of Mark II, the one that we see at the end of the film anyway.
Without the head. But maybe it's they can't get the licensing for the bird. That's the problem. If he doesn't have his bird, he can't be made.
No, maybe true. But I think it's one that hopefully we'll see when, like you say, he needs a paycheck and he kind of goes, sod it, let make some toys of me. Like it's, But again, I think
don't think it's that bad a film. Everyone trashes it, but I actually still quite like it.
I watched it about a week ago, and I actually really enjoyed it. But again, it's another character though that they could get away with the likeness not being 100% because he's got those kind of dread things. And he's got a beard and stuff, so you could kind of get away with making it a little bit of artistic license. But I just think
is that why you're growing your hair, Jake? Is that what it is? You're trying to get the head mold license for it. You got the beard, and you're going to bring your hair down.
It is. I've just got to get the. No, it's just because most of my friends are losing their hair, so I'm just kind of like I'm going to grow mine out. I didn't even mean you, Ryan.
This is why I collect helmets. Because I can hide this.
I didn't even mean you, but there you go. So yeah, but no, I'll
with Mickey Rourke though, I've often been just deviating a little bit. I've often thought so many times with the collector market being so big as it is for like wrestling figures, I was always so surprised they never made a movie version of the wrestler with Mickey Rourke.
Oh, I know.
Surprised that like WWE didn't get licensing or somebody just to make us.
Yeah, I
came out. I mean, Chris Jericho made a big deal out of it with him, and WWE kind of had him on a few times. Yeah,
so he featured in one of the match or two, didn't he?
Yeah, I'm surprised WWE never licensed it up and said, "Do you want to have a Mickey Rourke figure and make it as part of the Elite Series or something?"
Yeah,
you can have mutant John Cena, but you can't have Mickey Rourke. I mean, just like
exactly.
While we're on I'm gonna a little bit of an exclusive here, then I suppose. But I picked this figure up. Do you remember this figure?
Oh wow, yeah, look at that.
What was it? The Nightmare Batman or something like that, wasn't it? And it comes in great big things. But I actually looked at it and I thought that's the base of a Whiplash Mark II for me. So I took all these spikes off. I've started to work on it, and I've started working on the emblem. But that's where I'm going with this. I'm gonna customize a Whiplash Mark II out of the Nightmare Batman. So
nice.
Watch this space. He's just sat next to me staring. So I thought, you know what, I'll show you. But
Todd McFarlane is now crying somewhere that you're ruining his Batman.
Is this a McFarlane? Yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, it's McFarlane.
Yeah. Sorry,
they're not
Todd.
Toys, they're collector items.
Sorry, Todd. Yeah, I don't know. Todd, if he sends me a few items for free, then I'll forget it. But if not,
you'll rip them apart and turn them into something else. Yeah,
yeah, that's what I do.
No, sorry, I'm afraid McFarlane only work with creators in America.
No, I know.
I've had that email back so many times. They don't want to work with me, so bugger off.
It's ridiculous, but hey,
America.
Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. We won't focus too much on that. I'll butcher his figures instead, and then see what they do. But yes, that's going to be my Whiplash Mark II, because I did do a custom of Whiplash a while back. He's on my shelf somewhere, but I used one of the Borderland figures. Do you remember when they came out? Yeah. And there was a perfect.
The Psycho. Yeah.
Just I saw it and I was like, that's perfect for a Whiplash custom. So yeah, just played around with it and kind of made one, and people seem to like it. But so now I'm looking at it
somewhere.
Got what? From Borderlands.
Great game.
All right, so that's my number 4. Go on in, Sorrell.
So I've been so surprised with the fact that we now have 2 separate molds for Ewoks. I'm surprised they have never made like a 4-pack, big ass Amazon exclusive box like they used to do with the big 4-packs. I'm surprised they've never just made an Ewok pack where you get the 2 base colored Ewoks and then 1,000 accessories just to make it look different. So you could army build an Ewok village at 6-inch.
Drums, axes, weapons, baby Ewok,
chariot for C3PO.
Done. Yeah, little netting for R2D2.
Yeah.
I must admit, talking of army builders, because obviously Marvel Legends are going down that road hard. So they're releasing a handful of army builders. You've had like hand ninjas, you've had aim scientists, you've had Hydra goons, you've had you're gonna have scrolls coming up, you've got shield agents, and they're really capitalizing on the market of collectors like to have these guys in bulk. But the Star Wars, the Black Series haven't, have they?
I think they do it in a different way and they just call it the archive line. Because every time they release an archive line, they release things like the Shore Trooper, the Death Trooper, the Imperial Trooper. So you can technically army build that because it is £15 rather than 20.
Yeah, no, that's fair enough.
So you could get away with, it's about the same price as what the builder, what do you call them, like
the army builders? Yeah, they're about £15
price, isn't it? So I think that's how Star Wars kind of say you could build it that way.
I've always had a thought that would be good for a Hasbro line. Is why they don't call Star Wars Armory. And what it is, just cut the cost right down. So it's just plain white boxes or whatever. Just something really basic. Doesn't have to be fancy packaging. Really basic packaging. I mean, almost like, remember the old mail away exclusives by Kenner?
Yeah.
Yeah, almost that level. And just make that for army building. They would make a mint. They just did that with troopers, particular types of troopers. Cut down on the cost of packaging and stuff like that, because people would buy like 10.
Yeah.
But if you cut the cost down, if you did a bulk thing, there's lots of things they're not doing, Hasbro, that are so obvious that people actually want, that they could do with very minimal cost, because they've already got the molds, they're already producing them. So cut back on the accessories, cut back on the packaging, and you've got a cheaper thing you can get direct to market on huge quantities, and they're not doing it.
Yeah.
I'm one of the people that scours the groups. At the moment someone says, I'm selling up my collection, I'm like, how many troopers do you own and what do you want for them? And I buy bulky troopers. I've got like 20 Death Troopers now, and about 13 Shore Troopers, and I need them for dioramas. You need an army.
Yeah, that's
one of the same thing.
That is one of the things that put me off the Black Series line, because like clone troopers, for example, like you can't get them for love nor money. Like they hold their value, but yet the whole appeal of a clone trooper is having a dozen or so of them all together. Yeah. And I know that they do the knockoff ones on like AliExpress and stuff like that, but there's obvious differences. But it just seems silly that, just a really standard 2-pack of clone troopers, and just pump them out. They would sell them ridiculously. Or
money on the table that they're just leaving.
So
here we are.
Sorry, go on.
I was going to say, it's the lot. You've each got one more left, haven't you, for your choices?
Yeah.
I was going to say before moving on, there is a guy on YouTube. I'm trying to find his name, but he's a 3/3/4 inch collector, and he literally has
the Imperial stuff.
Yeah, the Grand Army of the Republic. He has millions of little 3-inch figures of the troopers.
My mate Dave did show me this, and he did one where he unboxed like hundreds, absolutely hundreds.
I can't think of his name off the top of my head. Is it something like, it's not J? Is it JC something?
I
can't think of his name off the top of my head, but I often watch his channel because he army builds to like the next level.
That's insane.
I look this up, see if we can find some internet.
I enjoy watching his channel just because he builds so many big armies of clone troopers and stuff. It's nuts. All 3/4 inch.
It's like Grand Imperial Army or something like that. I'll have a look while you guys discuss your top ones.
So the last ones. Okay, so I'm going to throw a couple of honorary mentions as well. I've got an
honorary mention. Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's
plot twist.
Let's do our last one, and then we'll do the honorary mentions. So my number one, I think, if I was going to put it out there, would be an Iron Man Mark V, hands down. Not because I don't have one. I have one. But they're an old figure now, and they're really sought after as well. Everybody wants that Mark V. Which is for anyone that's not up on their Iron Man armors, but essentially it's that red and silver one that we saw in Iron Man 2 that comes out the suitcase.
I found it. It's the Imperial Communique.
Awesome. Yeah.
There you go. Ryan straight in. Ryan, it's my Mark V, chat.
I know.
No, I'm joking. But it would be Mark V. I really think that they missed a massive, massive trick. that they've just released the Mark 21 Midas armor with the Happy Hogan figure in a 2-pack for the Infinity Saga line. And Happy Hogan, it's branded up Iron Man 2. Oh no, I think it's branded up Iron Man 3. I don't know. Iron Man 3 is branded up, but brand it up Iron Man 2 and have put Happy Hogan with the suitcase and the Mark 5. That would have flown off the shelves. 100%. I really like the Midas armor. I'm probably one of the few people that was actually really pleased with it in hand. But the Mark 5, hands down, is something that so many people need. And because it's an older figure, it doesn't stand quite as well with the other more modern versions that we've got. So a good articulated Mark 5.
I'm still waiting for them to do Iron Man, the Armory collection, and just literally just focus on suits on the subline. And then come with a display thing that all clicks together. You can do in a big circle, and then I can watch someone else buy it and do it on YouTube, so that I don't have to buy it. That's the ideal dream.
I can never take that name of that character seriously. Happy Hogan sounds like something you buy at McDonald's.
It does sound like it does, doesn't it? It sounds like the bad guy from the McDonald's franchise.
I just can't take it seriously when I hear his name. It makes me giggle like every time. Happy
should
Hogan.
Be the bad guy, maybe from something like Surf Ninja from the 90s.
Yeah. Or Darwin Duck or something.
Howard the Duck versus Happy Hogan.
I don't know. I was, Mark 5 for me. Even my Happy Hogan figure, I don't know if you can quite see it. Where is he? He's up here at the front, but I've put the Mark 5 suitcase in his hand. That's how I'm displaying him, because it's kind of like, I can't just have him there with his little cell phone accessory. So I've put the Mark 5 suitcase in his hand. But look, wait there 2 seconds and I'll just justify my number one pick.
I so want him to knock one figure and every single figure in that cabinet. And then my helmet looks like such a bad collection. And after that,
you know what? I could hear you laughing about them all falling down.
We'd love the fact just to see them all go like dominoes.
just everything fall down behind me. Yeah. So that's your Midas. That's the newest Iron Man figure that we've had. So the Mark 21, the Midas one.
See, I told you got to have a gold figure. That every line's got to have a gold figure.
But this is your Mark 5. So this is the Marvel Legends Mark 5 that we've got. And if you actually look at how different they are,
wow,
like they don't like on the shelf when you kind of have them stood next to each other, but we need a new Mark 5.
Do you know how I justify that though? I'd say, well, that one fits in a suitcase and that one doesn't.
Yeah, but if he's this big, come on. They've been progressively getting bigger and bigger. Now, I will justify something. So, just while we're on this segment, I'm very passionate about the Mark 5, you see.
I can tell. Here's one I made earlier.
So if we have a look at these, this is the Mark 3, I think it is. But the older Iron Man lines, so with the ball joint hits and stuff. Now, if you put these next to each other, they work. Yeah.
That works.
So next to the old figure, but next to the older figure, they work. That's absolutely fine. You put him next to a newer figure, and he doesn't. So give us an updated Mark 5, please.
But the bigger figures at the back and the smaller figures at the front, and in perspective's your friend. Come
on, look, new Captain America next to Iron Man. Look.
Oh yeah, he would have beaten the crap out of him in Civil War.
Come on. So that's what I'm looking for. Mark 5, please. So that's my number one.
Is that your number one pick?
I think so. I just got so passionate about that one. I'm going to put that one at the top. Give me a Mark 5. Come on in. Give us your last one, Sorrell.
So my honourable mention, first of all, is a character that you've heard me do the impression of a million times, and we don't have a figure of him, and I want him in the Black Series so badly. Because every time someone says the word clone trooper, I just hear that voice going, "Oh, the cloners." I want Dexter. I need a Dexter Jetson figure in that horrible, muckied up bloody schmuck. I need him.
What is it? Yeah. It's like and how big your pocketbook is.
Yeah. It's just, I just love it when they go in there. It's like, oh, what do you know? It's just the way he talks. It's ridiculous. I love it.
It's a little bit sinister as well when he's like leaning in. It's like, good choice.
And my number one choice would be Darth Talon. Getting a Black Series figure, especially when they're doing Legends, and I think she's one of the more popular Sith Legends characters that they've never done.
Yeah,
Yeah, they definitely need to do a Darth Talon. Everyone would stand her next to Maul. Everyone fancies them two as the Mr. and Mrs. Sith of the Star Wars universe.
Do you know what would
Nice
be smart
pick.
though? Because they could probably use the molding a lot of it for Ayla Secura as well. So from a production point of view, it'd probably make a lot of sense.
I have a feeling the reason they've never made it is the same reason they've never redone Slave Leia, is because of the whole PG-friendly Hasbro look, and she's a bit of a scantily clad character.
Maybe put a cloak around her, give her a dressing gown. I don't know.
They'd have to do something to justify it, but
then they did the Hellfire Club recently with the old corsets and the.
They did.
So there's hope yet. I suppose my honorary mentions, if you like. I mentioned it earlier, but like an Ancient One figure would be quite cool. A Meek to go with Korg is almost a no-brainer. Agatha Harkness, we know we're going to get one at some point. I reckon it has come. Sharon Carter, she's been making the rounds recently, hasn't she? Agent 13, and what was she called in thingy? What was she called?
I think
what was she called? Power Broker. That's what she was in. I think they called her Power Broker, didn't they? In the Falcon Winter Soldier, and an updated War Machine as well, like an updated grey War Machine.
I think that'll come with the Armor Wars series, probably.
Yeah.
I was thinking if Hasbro had thought seriously, the time difference between WandaVision and this Halloween has been massive. They could have made a special box set for Halloween of both Wanda and Vision in their Halloween costumes, which is their original outfits.
And they might still do that.
That would have been an amazing release.
And a Quicksilver with authentic duct tape silver.
Yeah.
That would be.
They might still do it. Might still do it. So, all right. Well, look, that was quite a cool little list. I agree with all your picks. I think they're good. Yeah. That was a fun week.
On both sides.
Yeah, that was for a week that we didn't have much come out. We've talked about quite a lot, to be honest. Anything else?
Drag that out, didn't I?
Anything else that's come out? Anything else that you think's worth a mention before we round up?
I had a quick look on Toy Arc before, and there's not really a lot been coming out. I think we need to wait for this stream this week for Star Wars and see what they announce.
Yeah. You got that coming up this week, haven't you?
People seem to think more stuff dropping Friday as well. Not sure why, but a lot of people are saying to hover around the Friday date for both Marvel and Star Wars. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, definitely. Cool. All right. Well, listen, if that's everything, gents, Ryan, thank you very much for joining us. It's been fun having you on board. Yeah, it's been good. And you've definitely brought in the Star Wars knowledge. So it's helped with Sorrell's information here, because names and stuff for Star Wars are. I know Anakin and I know Darth Vader.
Mate, I am the Star Wars Uber, and a lot of my favorite characters are background ones that have nothing but from the Bantam era of books. So I'm like, that's my knowledge.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant. No, but thank you very much for joining us. And obviously, anyone watching, as always, if you are enjoying the show, then please do like, share, subscribe, all of those things. If you check the description below, then I've got obviously Sorrell's details there. Please do give them a like, share, follow. And I'll whack in Ryan's channel as well. So if you've enjoyed Ryan's involvement this week, then make sure you check out his channel and show the guy some love and support. It is appreciated on all accounts. And if you are listening,
hate mail, either one.
Hate mail as well, yeah. If you're listening, if you're listening on podcast, because we do go out on the podcast as well, I'll throw all the details in the description there as well. So make sure that you do check out the video on YouTube at some point. But yeah, if that's everything, gents, then we can call it a week there. And until next time, keep it geeky.